Hi, my name is John Cisna, and I'm a junior and senior high science teacher at Colonesco High School here in Colo, Iowa. One of the alarming statistics that's risen its ugly head in this country is that of obesity and weight problems. In the United States alone, 2 out of every 3 people are considered to be overweight. And what's even more alarming is that 1 out of every 3 people in the United States is considered obese. We need to first understand what the factors are that are causing this problem. A lot of them are uncontrollables, such as genetics, but several are very controllable, such as what you eat, where you eat, and how you eat. So that is what we're going to be looking at in this little experiment that we're running with 3 of our individuals from our sophomore biology class. In an effort to identify these variables, we are going to do an experiment. And in this experiment, we are going to use one of the most recognizable names probably on the planet in restaurants, that of McDonald's. Who better to use in this experiment as somebody who basically contributes to the data of being overweight? Me. So we are going to try to replicate the Super Size Me documentary that was done, only do it exactly opposite in the way it was done several years ago. Instead of starting with somebody that is in shape, that is exercising, whose blood work is very good, we're going to start from the other end of the spectrum. Voila, Mr. Cisna. We are going to test the hypothesis, is it possible for a person to eat nothing but breakfast, lunch, and dinner at McDonald's for 90 straight days to become healthy? I must be out of my mind. The first thing I want to do is find out what would be the perception of people about this hypothesis. Do they think it can be possible? Well, we asked some students at school, and here's what they had to say.
No. Is that like a trick question?
No, it's
No. Because McDonald's is really unhealthy.
Like, it doesn't matter how much you walk or whatever, I still think you'd get fat and way unhealthy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It looks like I have a better chance of growing hair in the morning than I do of becoming healthy eating at McDonald's. By far, the vast majority of people we spoke to thought it was absolutely impossible to become healthy eating at McDonald's. Well, we're going to give it a go. So, let's look at the starting line. These are my physical stats from day 1, which will include my weight, my chest, my stomach, and my hips. I will be eating 2,000 calories a day, so I would expect those figures would to drop. But the big figures to look at are going to be the blood work. Here is where my blood work started out, which includes the cholesterol, the triglycerides, the LDL, and the cholesterol to HDL ratio. I made arrangements with Joe and his crews at the local McDonald's, which is about 5 minutes from school. Each day I stop in on my way to school and pick up both my breakfast and lunch. Then on my way home, I stop to pick up dinner and usually in that part of my day reading the newspaper while I enjoy my McDonald's. All the employees were an absolute joy to work with at this McDonald's, and I couldn't have pulled it off without them. Well, this is kind of the process that it undergoes, and this is the McDonald's that I come to usually in the evenings on the way home from school. So in a minute here, we'll get the dinner, we'll sit down, we'll take a look at what we've got. So this was the process, day in and day out, for 90 days. And many people kept asking me, aren't you getting tired of the menu, or aren't you getting tired of eating at the same place? And the answer is no, and it was due to whom I'm about to introduce you to. This is the team of students that put together this project. On my immediate left is Tanner, in the middle is Grant, and on the end is Savannah. All 3 are planning to go to college to study some form of exercise and/or nutrition. Tanner, Grant, and Savannah were in charge of creating the menu each day. They had to allow me 2,000 calories per day and to stay as close as possible to the recommended daily allowance of the 15 nutrients we were tracking. This ended up being a balancing act, as they had to take in consideration both of these parameters as they changed the menus. The nutritional information was obtained through the McDonald's website, which gave all the nutritional values of any menu item they selected. Okay guys, take out this first sheet here that we've got all the exercise information on. I also got my blood work back, and you'll notice that I stuck all the initial blood work up on day one. Everybody see that? So what I'm planning on doing at the end of the experiment is then I'll take the blood work again and we can compare the beginning to the end.
I've got an idea about your blood work.
What's that?
What if you do it halfway through? Take your blood halfway through also.
Well, that's not a bad idea, because then it'll give McDonald's an idea of whether this is working or not. So shall we do that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, guys, we've had 2 weeks of this under our belt right now of the menus. Does anybody see anything glaring that we might need to make some changes with?
Your cholesterol was really high on the 27th. It was 215%.
Yeah, it looks like that cholesterol has been running high all the way through this.
Your sugar is also really high too, so you might want to change that.
Okay, so we've got the cholesterol and the sugar that are out of whack. All right, so what we need to do is I need you guys this week to take a look at what we can do in changing that around to get those two categories under wraps a little bit. Everything else looks pretty good. The nutritional part was pretty easy, but the exercise, that was a horse of a different color. As you can see here, the first day didn't start off quite as well as I hoped it would. Well, I tell you what, my mind says yes, my body says holy buckets Batman. Didn't quite make it to 45 minutes, made it 30 minutes, but this is kind of tough carrying this kind of weight around. I did make it a mile and a half though, so a mile and a half in 30 minutes, that's about a 3-minute mile pace. I have no doubt I'm going to have to warm up tomorrow morning just to get out of bed. But the good news is, 1 day down, and only 89 more to go. And from here, I get to go to McDonald's to have dinner. We'll go at it again tomorrow. Well, I was right. The next day I did have to warm up just to get out of bed, and I swear if I would have died, I would have felt better. But as you can see from this clip, as time went on, it got better and better, and there was hope of what was to come. Well, kind of reached the end of my rope for today. This is the end of the first week of the exercises. Today I didn't quite make it 45 minutes, made it 40 minutes, but I made it 9 laps, so that's about 2 1/4 miles, so if I do the math right, that's around 3 1/3 miles per hour. It's a whole lot better than I started the week. You know, somebody asked me this morning, when they saw me at my McDonald's breakfast, they asked me, aren't you getting a little bit tired of this? And you know, surprisingly I'm not. I myself am shocked at the diversity that the menu gives me, that I don't feel like I'm having to eat everything, the same thing every day, and the kids are doing a good job mixing the menu up for me. So anyhow, you know, 1 week down, got 11 more to go. I'll be weighing in a couple days to see how many pounds I lost for the week, and go from there. But you know, the best thing about these workouts is when I'm done, I get to go to McDonald's. Later. So the days and the weeks slowly went by, and we were starting to approach the midway point of this experiment. The weather up to this point had been pretty good, and I'd been able to stay outside all the time. But as you can see here, nothing stays the same in Iowa, especially during the fall. The weather finally started getting the better of me. Holy cow! What a difference a week makes in Iowa in the fall. Last week it was almost 80 degrees. Today it's in the 40s and the wind's blowing out of the northwest about 10 miles an hour. You know, this isn't exercise. This is survival. I feel like Les Stroud from Survivor Man. There's no question that this dog and pony show is going to be moving indoors here the rest of the week and probably throughout the rest of the experiment. Well, this past week, we just concluded the 5th week. I've dropped 20.2 pounds. I feel great, and the thing that's really surprising, pleasantly surprising, is that I'm not tired of the McDonald's food. I think there's just enough deviation in in the meals that I'm getting that's still making it nice. So the big week is going to become a week from tomorrow. That's the halfway point, and I'll be having my blood work drawn again and find out where we're at from where we started. Next week will be a big week, but again, this is probably the last day you're going to see me outside. This is just it's getting a little tougher to do this walking in this kind of weather, but we'll see what happens next week. So until then, I'm off to McDonald's. Have a great week.
Well, 2 more weeks came and went. We did get the blood results back at the halfway point, and they were very favorable. So now we're into day 60, exactly 2/3 of the way through the experiment.
Well, here it is, Friday night at the old high school. You can see the halls are fairly barren, and this is the 60th day now of the program. I've lost 28 pounds. I feel great. This sweat isn't due to the fact that I've been working so hard. It's just that since I've dropped so much weight now, I'm able to go at things quite a bit faster. I'm covering more ground in the 45 minutes than I ever had before. Now I'm starting to take a little different route, climbing some steps, coming down, but I feel good. So 60 straight days of nothing but breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And some of the non-believers that started this program around here are now starting to say, wow, there must be something to this. Didn't think McDonald's was this good. So anyhow, that's what keeps me going, if nothing else. I feel great. I'll talk to you later.
Every year in the NFL and the Major League Baseball, a schedule of every day of the year comes out. And the first thing all the players do is look at the challenging dates of that schedule. Well, I too did the same thing when this schedule was put together, and we were approaching the one dreaded day of the program, and that is day 74. Oh yes, Thanksgiving. But really, how tough can it be? We're only talking one day. I mean, every American League team has to play the Yankees once a year, and they seem to get through it okay, so why can't I get through one single day? But really, anybody should be able to get through one simple day. Oh, is that pumpkin pie? But what do I get to eat? Oh, come on. Really? All for the sake of science? And yes, I did get through Thanksgiving, and I also got through the last 16 days of the program. And now it was time to review the data to see if we proved the hypothesis or not. We shared the results with students at school, and then wanted to know after seeing these results if their minds may have been changed from their original position on getting healthier eating McDonald's food. Here's what they had to say, along with some teachers.
Yeah, at the end of this project, I didn't think Mr. Cisna would pull it off, but he did.
Yeah, Mr. Cisna's lost a lot of weight and he's getting really healthy, and I think it's possible now.
At the beginning of this, I thought Mr. Cisna was an idiot trying to waste his time eating foods that we all think is bad. Now that I've seen the results, I'm actually really surprised because I didn't think Mr. Cisna could lose that much weight. Losing it on McDonald's is kind of a big deal because everybody I know goes there just thinks it's terrible, and for him to be able to do that is just crazy. For Mr. Cisna to actually watch what he eats and the calories, it goes to show that it's not McDonald's that's making us fat and bodies unhealthy, it's just how much we consume and what we consume.
In the beginning, when I was told about this project and they asked me what I thought about it, I honestly thought that Mr. Cisna was going to gain like 100 pounds at least eating nothing but McDonald's for 90 days straight. But now seeing his end results compared to his beginning results, I've seen that you can lose weight from it, seeing that he has and seeing his blood work. And with him exercising, makes me realize like you can get healthy from eating McDonald's.
When I first heard about Mr. Cisna doing this, I thought it was a complete waste of time because when I think of McDonald's, I think of grease and the salty French fries. But now, like throughout the process, when we were in basketball practice, I could see Mr. Cisna walking. And at the beginning, he struggled, and at the end, it was easy for him. And now, seeing all these results, it makes me think that McDonald's can be good, and it's not just all about the salty French fries and the unhealthy grease.
When Mr. Cisna first started this, I thought it was going to be like the Super Size Me video. I thought I was going to gain a lot of weight and be unhealthy and like not be like energetic and stuff, but seeing like the results and everything and how much like weight he's lost and how good his blood is and everything and all of his work, and like he seems energetic and more like happy and stuff. Wherever you eat, it's your decision of what you're getting, and what you put into your body depends on how much weight you're going to gain or lose or how healthy you're going to be. So in all reality, it's up to you. Like, you can eat wherever you want as long as you're making the right decisions. I mean, if you're going to eat like a Big Mac every single day, you may gain some weight, but if like you have like the more healthier stuff, or you mix it up and make sure that you're not eating like 5,000 calories a day or something, then you can stay healthy with eating McDonald's. Like, I think this experiment has proved that you can be healthy eating McDonald's. Like, it's really shocking to me because I originally thought he was gonna just gain a lot of weight, but he is healthy now.
When I first heard about the experiment, I thought Mr. Cisna was crazy because there's no possible way you could eat McDonald's 3 meals a day and lose weight. My impression now of eating at McDonald's is changed a lot because of Mr. Cisna's experiment. It has shown me that it's the choices that you make and planning out what you eat every meal of every day that helps your diet, that helps you lose weight. Mr. Cisna lost weight, which was good, but also, his blood work and everything else was positive. So not only did Mr. Cisna lose weight, but everything else became more healthy too.
So when I first heard about Mr. Cisna doing the McDonald's for 90 days, I thought it would be an interesting test to see not only our choices part of our diet issues, but also the willpower in order to stick with the diet. As a family consumer science teacher, I always talk to students about moderation. It's not about that you can't have a cookie or a piece of pie. It's just that you don't want to eat the whole plate of cookies or the whole pie itself. It's our decision not to purchase that salad that hurts us more than anything.
I just learned about this probably a month or so ago, and I was very skeptical, being the school nurse. When we hear McDonald's, you kind of get in healthy eating, how Mr. Cisna was going to lose weight. Eating only McDonald's, I was skeptical. But then seeing all the data that he has, the lab work that goes along with this, how his cholesterol, all of his numbers are better after eating only McDonald's, I think it shows all of us that we can make those, if we make healthy choices, it's the choices we make. McDonald's does have things that aren't good for us, but we have seen that you eating healthy McDonald's choices, it's definitely can be to our advantage. So it's what we choose to put in our mouths and what we eat. So Mr. Cisna took those choices and put those in with the other items, so he was able to incorporate the Big Mac or the Quarter Pounder, but yet still had success with his weight loss.
Initially, I thought, when Mr. Cisna told me about his experiment, I thought that he could lose some weight on it, but I was a little bit skeptical on how much he would lose, and I was pretty surprised by the results, especially with his blood work being so successful. I thought that was a pretty big deal. I tell my students and my athletes all the time that life is full of choices, and seeing the results from this has kind of made me a believer, so I'm pretty impressed with the results. But I think choice is very important in diet, especially like portion control, and I think that's one thing that's really helped Mr. Cisna is that he's trying to keep it at 2,000 calories, and I think having all those healthy options at McDonald's is obviously helping.
So now we've come to what everybody's been waiting for, the tale of the tape. What does the empirical data tell us of what can happen of 90 days of eating nothing but breakfast, lunch, and dinner at McDonald's? Well, here it is. My cholesterol started at 249 and ended at 170 for a 32% decrease. My triglycerides started at 156 and ended at 80 for a 49% decrease. My LDL started at 170 and ended at 113 for a 34% decrease. And finally, my cholesterol to HDL ratio started at 5.19 and ended at 4.15. But what about the external figures? Well, those were pretty impressive as well. Let's take a look. My weight started at 280 and ended at 243 for a 37-pound weight loss. My chest was at 48.5 inches, ended at 44 inches for a 4.5-inch loss. My hips started at 49, ended at 45 for a 4-inch loss. And finally, my stomach started at 51 inches, ended at 44, and I lost 7 inches. Some people have a hard time understanding numbers on a piece of paper of what it really means. They have to actually see what those numbers mean in order to relate. So we took pictures before the experiment as well as after the experiment. But I warn you, if you haven't eaten, you may want to turn your face from the screen. Here is the before picture. Whoa! I think this video just took an R rating due to disturbing images. Let's get Moby Dick back in the water and see what he looked like 90 days later. That's a little better. That's what it looks like when you lose 37 pounds. Well, we've heard from the students and we've heard from the teachers, but what about the health and diet professionals, the ones who work with this day in and day out? I had visited with 2 registered dietitians about halfway through the experiment, and they were intrigued by what we were doing. So I included them in the data throughout the remaining days and met with them at the conclusion of the project. They are full-time registered dietitians who work in the Dietitian Services Division of the largest grocery store chain in Iowa called Hy-Vee. Sitting on my immediate right is Katie Jackson, a registered and licensed dietitian who is also certified in adult weight management. On my left is Ann Hytrek, also a registered and licensed dietitian with a master's in science education and a certified diabetes educator. They provide a large number of nutrition and wellness programs, ranging from one-on-one nutritional counseling to corporate programs and even school nutritions where they come into the classroom teaching students of all ages about healthy eating. Let's hear what they have to say about this experiment.
I think that this particular study that you have been doing is a great preliminary information that provides not only health providers but the general public information that food choices are our key thing that we are looking for on a daily basis to try to help our overall health.
I think that this experience was really great for the students because they were able to learn about the healthy choices part of your meal plan. And even though there were some meals that did not meet, they weren't as high in the vitamins or they weren't as low in fat, the whole day, it's all about what you have throughout the day.
I think from the standpoint from the students' perspective, that knowing what the hypothesis was in this particular study that you were doing, that they actually had an active interest in it, participating in it, so that they understand how science works with hypothesis, and that since they were actually doing some of the meal planning and helping you be able to choose food choices to help balance out the nutrients by the end of the day was the key.
Well, one thing that we did notice as the program was nearing the end for your 90-day experiment was that some of those higher fat sandwiches, like the Big Macs, those were a lot more higher in the caloric value. So the students, from looking at all the data and looking at the nutrient content, they were able to help balance out your intake for the day by cutting back on some of the calories, so you're still able to meet your nutrients for the day but stay within your calorie range. And so this helps teach the American consumer that everything does fit. It's about our calories in, calories out, and that how we can fit the rest of our day with some good nutrition and allowing ourselves to have some of the unhealthier foods at certain times and how it's not going to essentially ruin our diet.
I think this has been a great learning experience for the students that you've had, and the way that not only do you able to see obviously the results that you've had, but being active and participating and actually doing the meal planning portion of it, so that they've been able to identify maybe what foods have been lower in fat, or how do we balance out to get the vitamins that they need? And I think that's a priceless education rather than just looking at a textbook.
I think the main message from this experiment is that it's not only McDonald's, it can be any fast food restaurant, that we all have a choice, and that when we do go out to eat at these fast food restaurants, it's about what we choose on the menu, but balancing things out. So if someone wants to come in for some fries, maybe pairing that with a salad or some apple slices. So going in and not going for the Big Mac and the fries all the time, but knowing that there is a choice at every restaurant, and it's about what we're putting into our body.
I think that when people think of fast food restaurants and going into them to purchase foods, most people have a preset idea of what they usually order at these types of places. And to actually change their mind and actually think about other food choices, it has to be a conscious decision. And I think this type of an experiment shows that when you choose different, healthier food options, that you can make all foods fit.
I think it's really important for people to realize that we're not going to have perfect plates at every meal. It's not going to always have the starch, the green leafy vegetables, and the fruit. And so that this experiment helps us realize that when we were looking at your nutrients throughout the day, sometimes there wasn't that perfect meal. But what the important thing was is at the end of the day, you met your nutrients, and that this led to healthy results. So this can show other people that when they go out to different restaurants, that they may not have the perfect meal, but they have the rest of the day to make more balanced decisions as well and fit in the fruits and the vegetables that they may not have had at another meal.
So here we are, 3 months later, 90 days of eating nothing but breakfast, lunch, and dinner at McDonald's. It's the same classroom, it's even the same shirt, but obviously it's a different body filling that shirt. So basically, we've learned quite a bit over these last 90 days, and I have to admit, I was shocked as well. We knew I'd lose weight, but what was surprising about this experiment is how much healthier I really got. The blood work came back phenomenal, and that was only doing moderate exercise. Think of what somebody could do at 30, 40, or even 50 years old who has a metabolism a lot higher than what I would have. And again, I think you saw in many of the videos that people were saying it's the choices we make that make us fat, not McDonald's or any other restaurant. You can become fat at lots of restaurants, and you can become healthy at lots of restaurants, but the point is, it's the choices we make that determine how we're going to be health-wise. So on behalf of Savannah and Tanner and Grant, we want to thank you for watching this video. And remember, it's the choices we make that can make us healthy, and you can do it at places like McDonald's.